As a precursor to this work, the yard mechanic and myself had several long conversations about exactly how we were going to do it. Generally, there's three ways of getting the motor out of the out islander. One, you can cut the floor out, lift that off, lift the motor out, put the new one back in, and then reglass that whole thing back in. Didn't really want to do that. The other way that a lot of people have done is they take out the wood around the corner of the engine room there on the companionway and underneath the aft cabin there. With my boat, there was just a lot of stuff that would be involved in doing that, and we thought that that would not be overall the most cost-efficient way to do it. So what we did is we decided to just simply do it old school and take it right out through the engine room opening. After doing some measuring and working with the mechanic, we determined that for taking it out, we were essentially going to strip it down to the block. That would allow us more headroom in cranking it up and getting it out of the opening. So with that said, here we go. As mentioned earlier, we stripped the motor, so one of the first things we took out was the head. As you see here, here's the air filter. Here is the flywheel, the oil filter. Back there in the corner, that's the heat exchanger. And in this bucket is all of the oil cooling accessories. We put it in that bucket so it wouldn't leak oil. Here's the engine all stripped down as we start to lift it out. We lifted the motor as much as we could inside the engine room with a come along and a chain, as you see here. As we were lifting it up, we put cribbing underneath it to support it. We lifted this up this way until we ran out of headroom. Here you can see the final stack of cribbing set underneath the motor. With the motor spun around so it's facing going out of the engine room, we then muscled it up onto a big 2x4 plank, which you see there below the bottom pulley. Here's another shot of that wood sled essentially that we used to pull the motor out on. Here's a shot of the motor as we just got it pulled out of the engine room. If you look there on the bottom, you see more cribbing that we used so that it was very much as possible a level shot coming out of the engine room, and we didn't damage any of the wood finishing on the cabinet trim. Here you see the motor as we're pulling it through the aft cabin door. We didn't even take the door off, but we did have to remove the motor mounts so we could spin it through the opening. Also, we continued the cribbing all the way out so we had a nice level floor. Here's a quick shot looking out the companionway into the aft cabin at the motor. And here finally, sitting right underneath the opening in the aft cabin, is the motor ready to be lifted out by a crane. Easy does it. There she is, breaking out into the fresh air for the first time in 30 plus years. Yes, it is. With the marina owner, Costa, at the crane controls, he skillfully lifted the motor up out of the boat, through the rigging, over the side, and down onto the back of the crane truck. We can now say the motor is officially out of the boat, so let the fun begin. Here's what the engine room looks like after we took the motor out. Looks like it could use a little bit of cleaning. So here, after 8 hours of cleaning, is what I took out of the engine room. And here's what it looks like. That's it for this week at the boat. More to come. Well, I'm sad to say that brings us to the end of another vlog this week. As always, thanks for stopping in. And if you watched last week, you will have noticed that we have a new studio here at the channel. The other big upgrade this week is a new camera with some new audio. So if you notice a difference, shoot us a comment. Let us know what you think. Is it better? Is it worse? Love to hear the feedback. As always, remember, if you like us, go ahead and click that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Facebook. We really appreciate it. Until next week, happy sailing.